So what can I do for you?
I'm basically a newbie, so I'm still trying to figure out the ins and outs of DealSniper. I'm slowly transitioning to, like, being able to commit to this a little bit more full time. So there are some things I just don't know how to do, but it's not that, like, I might have just not seen a video on it yet. So I'm just, I'm trying
Have
to.
you gone through the DealSniper 101 playlist?
I haven't looked at every single video, but like, for example, I think one point for example, I think there was a property that wasn't really on, or that was misrepresented on DealSniper. Like, I don't know if it was just like the Zillow wasn't updated, but for example, the property might actually be like 250,000, but DealSniper thinks it was only like 2,000. You know what I mean? So then I was trying to figure out how I actually go in there, how I go in the deal machine and properly, like, figure out if it's actually a good deal or not. So I think.
Gotcha. Okay. So what you would do is you would just take the information from the listing and then create your own offer. So for example, let's say your property was listed for $250,000, right?
Mhm.
And you're going to keep the down payment low. So let's say you start somewhere at $15,000.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, $15,000 is the down payment. So this would be seller finance, $235,000. Then you go to the down payment, you change that to whatever you decided you're going to do. You want an assignment fee of at least $10,000 if you can get it. And then you'll have to look up the rent. DealSniper should be able to provide the rent for you. If not, you can always use Rentometer, Zillow Rent. Redfin has rent. For this example, I'll just say that the rent's $2,000. And same thing with the taxes. You have to go to either Zillow or Redfin. If you have PropWire, which is free, Batch Leads, that's a paid thing that you can go. But either way, they'll tell you the taxes on the deal, and then they won't tell you the insurance. But I always factor in insurance at about $100 a month. So now that I have this deal in here, I'm just going to put a very low number here, $350. I'll start there, and I'll see what my cash on cash return is. So now that I see what my cash on cash return is at 350, obviously I know I've got some wiggle room. So I'm just going to keep going up until my cash on cash return gets to about 12 to 15 is a good range to be in. 10 to 12 is your minimum. So I'm just going to keep
What is that
going up
cash on cash right now?
payment. Say that again?
What is that cash on cash? It's kind of small. I can't really read it. What is it right now?
Oh, you can't see the screen? Hold on.
Oh, I can see it, but okay.
Is that better?
Yeah. Okay.
So you can see now I'm at 21%. I started off at 350. Now I'm at 850. So let's go to 950, 17. Let's go to 1,000, 15. So right around $1,000 is probably where I would stop. But if I wanted to know what my max was, let's do 1,250. No, that's too much. Let's do 1,100. Yeah, so it's probably stop at about. That's my max would be about 1,100.
So
probably close to 1,125.
The payment is the monthly payment.
This is the monthly payment that's going to the seller every single month to cover paying off the seller financed amount.
Okay, and then so why are you going towards your bottom? Like,
because a lot of times a real estate agent's going to want to negotiate with you, and if you give them an offer at $800 a month, and they come back and say, "Hey, we like your offer, but can we do $1,000 a month?" There's no way for you to know without putting it into the calculator and seeing what your actual ceiling is, how high you can actually go. So I don't ever recommend that anyone starts underwriting deals until a real estate agent responds positively about an offer. Then you can start messing with the deal machine calculator. But before that, you can just send out offers, assuming you understand every element of the offer.
So another thing is, I know that I hear you say a lot to just send out the offers before analyzing them too much.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, does that kind of backfire if so let's say they take it, or let's say the buyer takes it.
You mean the seller?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so let's say the seller, so the seller takes it,
Okay.
but then you start to run the numbers and you realize that the cash on cash is like 4%, right?
That's not really possible. So Deal Machine has, I'm sorry, the Deal Sniper has the formulas going on in the back end. It'll always give you a good equitable deal to sell, even if you don't alter any of the numbers. So, for example, I'll pick a random one. Let's do that one. Now, obviously, this isn't one that I would normally use because it's only been on market for like 16 hours. But if I put this deal in here and don't change anything, so 148,500 with a $10,000. All right, well, let me just clean up my numbers really quick. Okay, 500, 10,000. Okay, and then the taxes, 149 and 567, no HOA. All right, so now let's put that deal in here. So 148,000. That's $10,000. So 138,000 seller finance. $10,000. That I don't know what the rent was. 1,200. Okay. So now we go to seller finance. Taxes 149. This was, I think it was 650. No, 560. Oops. And then the monthly payment was 500. So, I mean, there you go.
Wait, so when you do this, you basically avoid the LTR that's in the sniper instead?
No, I don't avoid that. I'm using this calculator to underwrite the deal to figure out, to show you that Deal Sniper is always going to give you an equitable deal. See, you can't test Deal Sniper against itself to see if it works.
Wait, say that again. That last part.
You can't test Deal Sniper against itself to see if it works. So what I'm doing is I took the numbers that Deal Sniper gave me and I plugged them directly into the calculator to see what kind of deal it gave me. And if you were able to get this under contract, this is a phenomenal deal.
Okay, so can you go back to your Deal Sniper that you had? Okay, this is like 23. Okay, go to your long-term rental spot. Okay, so you see how the cash on cash return is different. So I think that, well, I've been paying attention to this when I'm doing it, and like the numbers aren't always like good, and sometimes they're not even green. So I'm saying like, so you're actually just saying like it's just better to go through the deal machine to actually determine that?
Well, this is going to calculate and run numbers based off of what investors are buying. This is taking in other considerations that we aren't, like appreciation. You know, we're not really factoring that in. The CapEx reserves, this is at 3%, mine's at 5%. So yeah, let's see. So you're at 41. Yeah, I've got $1,000 more somewhere. Where do I have $1,000 more? What aren't you calculating? Vacancy, repairs, CapEx. If I put that at 5, it's going to make the number worse. What are you doing wrong? Let's see, rent is 14,560. Got 14,400 because I rounded down to 14 to 1,200. So I took off the $17. So that makes sense. HOA is 0. Property management, leaving that blank. Yeah, I don't know why it's running its number differently in the back end than mine. I just know that I trust my calculator.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I just think I just needed to verify that because I've been going off of this to like analyze the deal, and then it's just like, well, it's not, or it'll be down like it'll be down in the 4%. Like for example, like I was going through my list yesterday, and then I would literally just input the address, then go to the long-term rental, the page that you're on right now, and like they just wouldn't, they'd be down by 4% or they'd be down at 0.1%. You know what I mean? So then I was trying to think like, well, why would I send out an offer that doesn't seem to be? But if what you're saying is that it works if you use the deal machine calculator, then that makes more sense to me. I'm okay. I just literally didn't know like how to prove to myself that it was like a good deal somewhere. But if they're just using different like calculations to come up with the numbers, then
Yeah,
that's
Deal Sniper is, we try and make it like a no-brainer for people. So give you a good example. That deal that you said came up, you said it didn't even come up green, it came up red. So you passed on it. It was probably a good idea because had you put the numbers in, it would have given you a good number, but it would have made this like 10%. And that's bottom of the barrel. On paper, it works, but that's still bottom of the barrel.
So what you're saying is that the deal sniper is designed to give out deals that are plus
And
10 or something like that.
Deal Sniper is showing you terms. When it does this, what it's giving you is giving you a slam dunk. If
Okay.
everything here is green at the bottom, and you've got a good cash on cash return here, this is worst case scenario.
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
going to be a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So we're trying to make it a no-brainer. If this is red, move on because you can get it under contract and on paper it'll work, but it's probably not going to sell.
Right. Okay. So you're saying, okay, so don't go off of, don't basically just if it's green, just send it out. Then if they come back, then you can go to the deal machine and actually work out the
Dial in
numbers.
your numbers, correct.
So then when you go through the deal machine, that's actually what that's actually when, that's the data that we need to know when we're trying to find our buyers, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
And
going to
then,
be this one right here is what they're going to want to see.
okay, they're going to want to see, they want to know the return on their investment. So if that's 49%, does that mean that they're like based off of everything that they paid, they're getting 49% back, or 49% of the rent that they're taking or the mortgage that they're taking care of?
This is referring to the cash flow that they're bringing in for the year in sorry, I lost my train of thought. This is talking about what cash flow they're bringing in for the year when you compare that to what it took for them to buy the property, which is this number here.
Okay. So entry fee, that's their down payment, right?
Yes. So this will be their total entry fee.
Total entry fee. Okay. Let's see, purchase price, seller finance amount, interest rate. That's 0, right?
It's always 0.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good deal. Yeah.
So people prefer this style because we were able to basically avoid the banks. It's a little bit more convenient, right? And I mean, I'm just saying, like, what are typically the reasons that sellers are okay with this style?
You're talking about the person who owns the house or the person who wants to buy it?
Person who owns the house.
So this is made for people who don't necessarily need all the money from the close of their home that they're selling on market all at one shot.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we always tell you guys look for homes that are vacant, because if the home is vacant, then the person who owns the home already lives in another property. So they don't need the full asking price at closing in order to purchase another property to move into.
Okay. So look for something that's either vacant or move-in ready, right?
Correct.
Okay. That makes more sense. Well, okay. So then if it's vacant like and ready to move in, or vacant because it's abandoned?
Okay, no, like this house here. This house is not vacant. This
Okay.
house is also not staged. And I can tell that it's not staged immediately because, well, two things. One, someone staging a property wouldn't use this piece of furniture. That's very old and it's not stage worthy. And two, there's food in that pan, which means
Oh,
when this picture was taken, someone, you got whey protein up here and stuff like that. So someone's living here. So that's not a vacant or staged house.
right, right.
Let's see. Let's look at this one. Same thing. Not vacant or vacant, but definitely, yeah, that's vacant, but I wouldn't put an offer on that one. This one, this is vacant. Let's see if I can find one that's staged. I don't think, no, not staged. They wouldn't put a picture of Jesus in a staged house, nor would they put wine. Okay, so no, not staged. What about this one? This one looks good. Hold on. Maybe. All right, there we go. This house is staged. So you can tell that this house is staged because one, there's no personal pictures. Nobody's house looks like this. It just doesn't on a day-to-day. Even if they clean it up because company's coming over, nobody's house looks like this. There's not one personal picture, not one award, nothing like that. I mean, who the hell's got chains on their coffee table? Another thing, same thing with the kitchen. No pots, no pans, no dishes, no forks, no knives, no cutlery, no nothing. No kitchen appliances. So what I mean by staged is someone like this right here, this is not a real bed. That's a blow-up mattress with a comforter on it made up to look like a bed. So they hire people to bring in furniture so people who are trying to buy the house can see what it would look like decorated. So something like this would be something to go for as well. This looks like a DIY rehab, but I mean, still, if it's moving ready, it's moving ready. So does that answer your question about the
vacant? So basically, vacant, not abandoned, right? Because if you do that,
you want to have a house a house in good shape.
Because that would be the other wholesale strategy if you're going for the ARV.
I wouldn't necessarily put in a creative offer on this. I mean, you could, but I wouldn't, because it needs so much work before the investors that we're going after are not fix and flip investors. They don't want to put $20,000-$30,000 into a property just so they can rent it out. They want a property that they can just about clean up a little bit and then move somebody in so they can start rent.
Right. And they're all, I mean, that's a specific niche of investors that are out there, right? So
that's the other half. I say other half.
Okay.
There's two types of investors. There's buy and hold and fix and flip.
Okay. So we're looking for,
I mean, you got developers and things like that too, but that's different. We don't really wholesale to developers. Buy and hold can be broken up into two different categories or a couple different categories: long-term, short-term, mid-term. But they're still buy and hold. They're not going to sell the property anytime soon as long as it's making the money.
Okay.
A fix and flip investor, depending, again, different. You can have a commercial fix and flip. You can have a real residential fix and flip. Either way, their whole goal is to get something as cheap as they can, put some money into it, sell it for a profit, move on to the next. That's a fix and flip investor.
So with your personal experience with this, so like, what do you think is the best strategy just in general? Just getting out as many emails as possible a day, just being consistent with it. Like, for example, I picked San Antonio, Texas to start, right? Because it has a really high population, and then the average house is like around 250,000 or something like that.
Okay. So what's the population for that area?
Population is like 1 million or something like that.
Okay, then you're golden.
So what?
You're golden.
Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted, but I was going through and I was struggling because I was like, none of them have that cash on cash, but I was using the DealSniper, and I was only able to find maybe 2 that kind of like fit it or whatever. But I'm saying, so anyway, I didn't even finish. But anyway, so what do you think is the best strategy? Yeah.
It depends on you. That's
Okay.
100% on your style, on your type of personality. Part of me is an A-type personality. I like calling people on the phone. I'm not aggressive by any means. I don't make people uncomfortable, but I have no problem picking up the phone and dialing, 8 hours straight and talking cold calling. That doesn't bother me. It's fun. So if you have that type of personality, then that's the route that I would go. Skip, trace a list, start cold calling people, and see if you can get off market properties under contract, usually cash, but now you have creative under your belt. If you're not that type of person where you don't mind getting on the phone with people, but you'd rather not, if you can avoid it, then I would use DealSniper. And I would just send offers to people who are off market. I'm sorry, on market. Target properties that have been on market for more than 60 days. The longer the better, unless it's a new construction. New construction, stay away from those. And just offer them creative offers. Now, the very idea of our formula, the formula itself says that you're going to be told no 95% of the time. So you have to be okay with that if you're going to market and wholesale using this method. If you're not okay with getting told no a lot, then you probably want to get yourself a VA or PPC leads. However, that can be expensive. We usually tell people to have DealSniper be the bridge. One, you learn the information because I'm always in the Discord. The training material is there. The videos are there. You gain some money from the assignment fees for on-market properties. Then you can scale to something that's more targeted like VA or PPC leads. That's the way that we envision this working. And that's the way it's working for a few people already.
Okay. So you're saying it's a good way to like kind of like get your foot in and kind of figure everything out, and understand how it works. Is that what you're implying, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying, okay, so this is really just one of many methods that could work for wholesaling, right?
Uh-huh.
But I guess if so, I'm saying the most successful route for this one, like, is just
For
volume.
DealSniper,
Yeah.
it's going to be volume.
Okay. Just the more
It's
you
going to
get
be,
out.
it's going to be absolutely, because again, what we say, we've seen people, we've tested it out. Success is you're going to send out about 20 offers a day or some combination over 5 days, 100 offers a week.
Okay.
Every week out of those 100, you'll get 5 realtors that'll say something positive, like, hey, we can talk about it, maybe, sure, but let's talk about the terms, whatever. Out of those 5 that respond positively, 2 or 3 you'll get under contract and close a week. But yes, you're going to be told no 95% of the time
Oh, okay.
because seller finance, creative financing, subject to hybrids, it's out there and it's popular, but it's not mainstream yet by any means. So most real estate agents don't know what it is, or they think, oh, there's no way we're going to do that, or the seller's already said no. Whatever the reason is, you're going to be told no 95% of the time for now,
Yeah.
until you start developing relationships with real estate agents, and then they'll start feeding you deals where the seller's already been primed for this type of offer. That's one of the ultimate goals for DealSniper.
Yeah. I found, yeah, I actually think I mean, I hope I didn't mess it up too bad, but definitely did a newbie thing because she said that they were only taking cash or in-house financing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that in-house financing was actually what I was selling. So yeah, at
So what
first
you
I
do?
was
You
like,
moved on from the deal.
well, at first I moved on, and then I actually researched what is in-house financing. It was like, oh snap, that's actually what I'm doing. I'm over here
Yep.
like, oh, so I had to like call back. Um, I had to call back. I don't know if a different lady answered or whatever, but she told me to send the offer to the email, and then she sent me the information to the title company. So I don't know if that's promising or not, but
That's very promising, but do they understand that you're wholesaling the deal? Because based off just that little bit, it almost sounds like they think that you're the actual end buyer, which is not what you want.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure if they understand that. I'd have to like follow up with them. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I would make sure that was clear though before I move forward.
Yeah, I would definitely let them know. Just say, hey, just so we're on the same page, because I don't want there to be any misconfusion or misunderstandings. I am 100% intending on wholesaling this deal. Are you guys okay with that? And then
Right.
see what they say. Because one way or another, they're going to find out that you're wholesaling the deal. And it's just been my philosophy, just be honest. Because we're trying to build bridges and relationships, not make them worse between not only ourselves as individuals with these real estate agents, but wholesalers in general. Because
What?
we have a bad rap right now because of bad wholesalers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why is it like a not good thing to be a wholesaler? Or like what's the like why
What's the
does it seem like,
stigma?
yeah, what's happening? What happened?
So a lot of times it's a very common practice for bad wholesalers or even wholesalers, not necessarily. I mean, ultimately it's a bad thing. I'm not trying to give them an excuse, but it could be because of lack of experience or lack of professionalism. It could be their age. I don't know. But for whatever reason, the typical thing, here's what a wholesaler does. They say, oh, yeah, first of all, they lie. They pretend that they're going to be the end buyer. Oh, yeah, I'm going to buy it. I'll have my contractor walk the property just to make sure everything's good and we'll be good to go. Contractors, the end buyer that they're claiming that they're going to have. And then they'll claim that they're the end buyer. They'll lie through the whole process. They'll not have very good communication. And if they don't find an end buyer, they don't tell anyone. They just disappear. They ghost the real estate agent. They ghost the seller. They say that they're going to do things that they don't do. They never come through. So now, after that happens over and over and over and over again, real estate agents have a bad taste in their mouth about wholesalers.
Right.
And that's not all wholesalers that do that. Some of the most professional people I've ever come across in my life are wholesalers.
Right.
Some of the most honest people I've ever come across in my life are wholesalers. But we don't get the chance to show that because of wholesalers that have kind of muddied the water for us a little bit.
Right. Wow. Okay, that makes more sense. So okay. I was just wondering why it just seems like everything needs to be secretive, but not secretive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's the big deal, but yeah, I get it. It makes more sense. People just assume that you're trying to pull one over on them, and but I also try to use language that implies that I'm not the buyer. Like, I might actually say something like, yeah, if I can find an investor to blah, 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 blah. I kind of,
that's a good way of saying it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good way of easing it into it. I like that.
Right. Okay.
Cool. All right. What else can I answer for you? I just got to wrap it up here in just a bit.
Yeah, no, I think that kind of clears up the water. So I could just start kind of blast emailing and just don't worry about it,
As long as you clean up your numbers, yes.
Just clean up the numbers so it looks less robotic or whatever. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, actually, that was actually really helpful. So thanks.
And there's no limit to one-on-ones. If you need help, again, you can always schedule another one. I just have them in 30-minute blocks, and I have another one starting right now, actually.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. So thanks. If I need more help, I'll reach out. So I appreciate
Sounds
it.
good, man. Have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.
All right, you too. Bye.
See ya.